Hi, welcome to today's session. So today's session is continuing with the Mulesoft integration with the RabbitMQ. In the previous session, we discussed about the consume connector operation, the publish operation, and listener operation, and their configurations, installation, and downloading RabbitMQ. And this is the continuing session. In this session, we will learn about queuing operations, how a act operation works and how reject operation works, and finally our favorite POC. So let's begin the session. So already we have discussed what is RabbitMQ. So RabbitMQ is nothing but a message broker. It accepts and forward messages. So it's like a post office where it can deliver the mail to your recipient. In this analogy, RabbitMQ is a post box, the post office, and a letter carrier. So RabbitMQ is a message broker. It accepts and forward messages. You can think about it as a post office. When you put the mail that you want posting in a post box, you can be sure that the letter carrier will eventually deliver the letter to your recipient. So in this analogy, this RabbitMQ performs as a post box, and a post office, and a letter carrier. So these are the different queuing operations using AMQP connector. Act, consume, listener, publish, consume, and reject. In the previous session, we already discussed about consume, publish, and listener operations. In this session, we will discuss about act and reject operations. So first of all, let's see the configuration of this act connector configuration. So an act acknowledgement is sent back by the consumer to tell RabbitMQ that a particular message has been received, processed, and that RabbitMQ is free to delete it. So here we need to configure the acknowledgement ID. So this acknowledgement ID is an unique ID. And by referring this acknowledgement ID with attributes.acknowledgement ID, we can acknowledge that the message can be deleted from the queue once the flow is completed successfully in the studio. So let us do one POC on this acknowledgement connector configuration. So basically, when you acknowledge if that particular message is reached the target system, and the target is saying that, okay, I received the message, and you can this message can be deleted from the queue. So like that, how the application works. So basically, this acknowledgement is like a sign off. So the target is receiving the message, and it is signaling that the message from the queue can be received. So that is the main functionality of this act connector operation. So act ID is a unique ID generated for every message generated from a particular queue. So from every particular queue, if any message is published or generated, one particular unique key will be generated. That ID is called act ID. So once the message is triggered to a listener, we can able to see this act ID under the attributes section. You can find this act ID under attribute section. Next connector is reject connector. So here the same configuration as we have done for act operation. Here also in the acknowledgement ID session, we can provide this attributes acknowledge ID, so that from this attributes, this acknowledge ID can be referred. So how this reject operation works? In some particular scenarios, organizations reject some kind of messages. So in those cases, even though at that particular point of time they don't want that particular message, but in later point of time they want to retrieve that rejected messages. So in such cases, by configuring the queue with dead letter exchange and dead letter routing queue, we can route the messages to that particular exchange binded queue. So whatever the message published in one particular queue, if that message is rejected, then it will routes to another queue by referring this dead letter routing queue and dead letter exchange. So let's briefly describe about this queue, how to create a queue and how to bind that queue with an exchange. So here I'm creating a new queue, that is first name queue, And here in this argument sections, I'm adding X dead letter exchange and X dead letter routing key. So here from this drop down, you can pick up this dead letter exchange and dead letter routing key. In this value session, I am routing whenever this queue is rejected or whenever this message is rejected, I am routing that message to this first exchange, with a routing key error. So these two are I have defined here in this session. So here dead letter exchange is first exchange and dead letter routing key is error. So in this exchange session, I am binding this reject message queue. This is the queue which I am routing whenever the message is rejected. I am routing that rejected message into this reject message queue, and I am binding that reject message queue with this exchange. Once you click on this bind option, that reject message queue is binded with this exchange. So let's begin this POC. So this is my RabbitMQ admin UI. So here we can see overview, connections, channels, exchanges, queues and streams, and admin. So under this queues and stream session, we can see the queues which are created under this queues and streams, and these are the names of this queue: first queue, rejected message queue, and second queue. So in this POC, I am using this first queue and rejected message queue. And if you go to this exchanges, these are the predefined default queues, and here I have created first exchange and second exchange. So here in this tutorial, in this POC, I am using this first exchange. So here to this first exchange, I am binding this reject message queue. So whatever the messages rejected in my flow, those messages will be received here in this reject message queue. So that is binded with this first exchange. Let's go to this POC. So here I have configured this listener. So listener queue name is first name, and if you see this configuration, host is localhost, port is 5672, username guest, and password is guest. And here I have configured a logger to just print this attributes dot act ID. I just want to print this act ID, so I have configured in this listener. I have chosen a choice router, and here I have given the condition like if the payload contains hello, then it is then the message should go and reach the target. And if the payload other than hello is there, it will go to this default condition. So first let's see this act operation, how it performs. So let me let me publish a message in the first queue, because this listener is hearing the messages from first queue. So I'll post some message in this first queue. Let's go to this queues and stream session, click on this first queue, and when you drop down this, you can see here publish message section. In this section, you can send a payload, the JSON format. I'm just simple passing one object having single key and value, should contain hello. Otherwise it will not move to this act operation. So I am simply publishing this message hello. Let me publish this message. Once I publish this message, you can see this message published window. And then if you go to here, already my project is in debug mode. If you click on this debug mode, you can see this attributes. So under this attributes, you can see this act ID. So this is the unique ID generated for this particular message. So if you click on this next processor, as this message contains hello, payload contains hello, so that's the reason this message is routed here to this condition. You can see the message under the payload session, message hello. So this message, now let's go to this management, RabbitMQ management. Click on this, and this is published in this first queue. The message is published in this first queue, and the message status is unacted. So that's the reason in this unacted session you can see this number 1. We have published one message, and that is in unacted state. Once this flow is completed, then this message is acknowledged, so that message will be deleted from this first queue. Then you can see 0 in this message section. So let's click on this next processor. So this flow is completed. Let's go and see, check here. It will take a few seconds to see. Now the message is acknowledged, so that's the reason this message is deleted from this first queue. So in this way, this acknowledgement function can be performed. This acknowledge operation can be performed. So once this flow is completed, then only you can able to then only the message can be deleted from this queue. Otherwise it will stay here in this unacknowledged state only until and unless it is reached the target. Then only that message will be deleted from this queue. So that is about acknowledgement operation performed by this RabbitMQ. And let's move on to the next operation, that is reject operation. So for that reject operation, I have created a queue. Whatever the messages that are rejected by this project, those messages will be redirected to this reject message queue. So already here in this message in this queue, already one message is there. So if another message is added to this reject message queue, the number will increase. So let's see. Let me hit let me send one more message. So here need to send a message other than hello. In that case only it will move to that default choice condition. So here message is hi. So this is the message I am sending this time. So let me publish this message. So now go and see this first queue. The message is published. That message published, and it is in unacknowledged state. So here in this logger, I just kept to track this acknowledgement ID. You click on this Mule debugger, you can see the payload. Payload is message hi, and under this attribute section you can see this acknowledgement ID. This is a unique ID 2-1. Let's hit on this next processor, and this time this payload doesn't have hello, so that's the reason it moved to this default condition. So in this default condition, I just have given this attributes dot acknowledgement ID, and if you click on this next processor, let's go and see here. So it is still in unacknowledged state only. So if this process is completed, this process is completed, see here in this reject message queue, the message number is increased. Previously it is 1, now it is 2. So if you click on this reject message queue, you can see here ready messages are 2 and total messages are 2. And if you go down here, this get message, in this session you can see You can see this properties. So generally for other queues you can't see these properties. See, for this message queue, you scroll down under this get message, you can't see anything here. So whatever the messages that are rejected, those messages only will store and we can see under this get messages section. So here in this um, reject message queue, two rejected messages are there. So that's the reason we can able to see this message properties. So here the count is 1 and the exchange queue is fast queue. Reason why this message is retrieved here, because it is rejected, and routing is fast key default, it is fast key. And here you can see this session also, X first dead exchange, first dead queue, first dead reason. So these are the properties which you can see here. So in this way, if you want to use this message, if you want to use this message in the latter point of view, you can simply consume the message from this particular queue until and unless it shows the message number as 2. So this flow is completed. Now let's move to this RabbitMQ management, and here you can see the two messages which are placed in this reject message queue. So this is the first message that is rejected previously. That is the queue name is fast queue and reason it is rejected. So that's the reason it is here. It is routed to this message reject message queue, and this is the second message which I have previously published into this queue. So this is the message hi, and the count is 1, queue name is fast queue, the reason it is rejected. So that's the reason the message is routed to this reject message queue. And routing key is fast queue, it is a default value, it is defaultingly it is taking this queue name as fast queue. And here the X first dead exchange, and first dead queue is fast queue, and exchange first dead reason is rejected. So in normal cases, in normal queues, you are unable to see this message structure. Suppose if you click on this first exchange, and if you go and check this message structure here, can't able to see anything. So whatever the messages that are rejected, those messages only you can able to see under this get message structure with different properties. So if you click on this reject message queue, close this, you scroll down under this get message section. In this get message, you can see what and all the messages that are rejected. Here by giving this number 2, you can able to see 2. On this reject message queue, select this get messages. On this get messages, give 2. That is first message, and this is the second message which are placed in this reject message. So that's all about this RabbitMQ act and reject operations functions. Thank you.